Literacy Assignment 1A, Handwriting and Punctuation by Sania, Bahrom and Jasmine Murphy. Handwriting is an essential skill for students to learn, but is often overlooked as the students progress through primary school. Handwriting is the physical activity in which students learn to print letters fluently and legibly using correct letter formation, which suggests that good handwriting visually reinforces the memory for word patterns and can help in speaking, spelling, and writing more effectively.
Punctuation is a writing convention and it is important to teaching because in written English, punctuation is essentially about meaning as stated by Langdale.
There are key understandings, specialised skill and specific knowledge that teachers need to be familiar with when teaching handwriting to students. Teachers should focus on the student's ability to write with speed and confidence rather than centering instruction on style and appearance. The teaching emphasis of handwriting is not on shapes of letters but on the movements to produce them. Handwriting should not be taught in isolation from other language features, otherwise it will make handwriting meaningless and students will not see a purpose to focus on this skill. The style preferred in WA is the modern cursive style, as it aims to help students achieve fluency, legibility and rhythm in writing. Regular handwriting practice sessions in the early years are definitely required. In later grades, practice sessions can be used when needed. Handwriting requires many skills working in sync. The shoulder needs to stay steady while the wrist and elbow move in just the right way. Also, the eyes have to follow what the hand is doing, and that's not all. You need the brain power to know how the words and letters are supposed to look and make decisions about what you want to write. For all this to become automatic, there are specific skills that need to be explicitly taught to students. These are fine motor skills of how to hold the pen or pencil. This means gripping the pen or the pencil with the thumb, index finger and middle finger. Students need to be taught the gross motor skills of correct sitting posture when writing. That is, sitting comfortably at a stable writing surface with the pen held at a constant angle to the page. Teachers also need to develop students' visual motor skills, which is their ability to copy shapes, letters and numbers. Handwriting also requires specific knowledge that needs to be known to both the student and the teacher. Teachers need to be familiar with the different skills that must be taught for left-handed students, such as the different placement of paper. That is when the paper is slanted with the upper left corner higher, which is the opposite to right-handers. Students need to be familiar with how each letter is formed before they can be successful at handwriting. And teachers also need to be aware of the student's visual perception, which is the child's ability to recognise letters, recall what the letter looks like, and discriminate between two familiar letters.
The key understanding of punctuation is the importance of how it shapes the written language and gives it meaning. It creates structure and organisation to text, but it also gives intonation and pauses to be observed when reading aloud. Langdale states that good communication allows the writer to show expression, to communicate rhythm and tone. The importance of punctuation is often underestimated, yet a misplaced mark can significantly alter the meaning. For example, look at these two different sentences. They all have different meanings just from the punctuation placement. The first example is, "Let's eat, Grandma," or "Let's eat, Grandma." And the second one, "Woman without her man is nothing," or it can read as, "Woman without her man is nothing." This is just an example of how punctuation placement can alter the meaning of the same sentence. Punctuation is best taught through the student's own texts and readings, as well as from everyday examples from a variety of contexts such as signs, newspapers, letters and journal entries. This will show how punctuation works in practice. Here are the simple punctuation marks. This is a question mark. When placed at the end of a sentence, it shows when someone has asked a question. Here is a comma. We use commas in lists or to separate clauses in sentences. This is an exclamation mark. Exclamation marks show surprise, anger, and shouting. It is a punctuation mark that mimics language as it can give intonation and stress to the written text. This is a full stop, or also known as a period. It is placed at the end of a sentence. These are brackets. Brackets add extra information just for the reader. This is a colon and it can be used to introduce a list. This is an apostrophe. It can be used to show possession or a missing letter. Ellipses are used to create suspense. A hyphen can be used as a comma to separate words in sentences. This is a semicolon. It can be used to join two separated sentences, or it can be used like a comma in lists when the list is extensive.
There were many ideas presented from different sources about handwriting. Some of the main points suggest that handwriting is best taught in the context of normal and purposeful schoolwork, so that students will not find the exercise meaningless. Much of the research supported the notion that handwriting is an important skill, as it fosters an appreciation for words and language and teaches attention to detail. Some concerns people are having is that handwriting and penmanship are being left behind as preparation for state assessment tests dominate class time, while others suggest that with the surge of technology available in and out of the classroom, computers and typing are decreasing the importance put on handwriting in this digital age. The cursive style of handwriting is important and relevant in today's society because it teaches students spatial skills, as they will automatically leave spaces between words while writing in cursive.
Punctuation marks are signals that help readers to understand the ideas in a passage and read more quickly and efficiently. It is important because it adds significant meaning to writing. Therefore, you cannot have writing without punctuation. It creates structure and organisation to text. It shows the reader how a text should be read aloud, giving the written text feelings and emotion when being read. It also indicates the author's intentions and the different meanings to be conveyed to the reader.
There is much research out there that supports the ideas that handwriting is an important and still very relevant skill to have and to teach in a modern 21st century classroom. Neurologist Frank Wilson says that although the repetitive drills that accompany handwriting lessons seem outdated, such physical instruction will help students to succeed. He also says these drills stimulate brain activity, lead to the increased language fluency, and aid in the development of important knowledge. So if handwriting skills aren't automatic, it interferes with the whole writing process. As previously mentioned, cursive style of handwriting may seem outdated and unused in today's society, but it does automatically teach skills like leaving spaces between words. However, there are some alternative views to these arguments that handwriting is relevant in today's society. Some question why handwriting and penmanship are still taught in today's classrooms, as it is a dead art. It can be argued that with the majority of society communicating through technology such as phones or computers, handwriting is becoming less necessary in the 21st century. Then there is no reason for teachers to burden their students with such an outdated method of communication. Very few things in this modern age are handwritten, so it should be clear that less emphasis should be placed on handwriting beyond basic skills.
Tompkins, Campbell and Green states that correct punctuation is important because it aids the reader in comprehending the text, which supports the main idea presented.
Before researching this topic, handwriting was considered to be one of the less important literacy skills. Yes, students have to have legible handwriting in order for teachers and others to read a student's text and gather meaning from it, but it was not understood the crucial benefits of handwriting and the consequences of not teaching handwriting. Handwriting has multiple benefits to the student. Not only does handwriting help with the student's letter formation, but also helps with the development of the student's cognitive and motor skills develop. On the other hand, if handwriting is not taught, the lack of handwriting skills can have serious consequences for the student. Reader comprehension is said to suffer without handwriting skills. Having legible but messy handwriting can have an impact on people's perception of the quality of the text written. This can be evident in standardized tests. If a student's writing is not readable, then meaning cannot be gathered from that text and students could be marked down. Evidently, a lack of handwriting skills makes it more difficult for people to communicate ideas, which is crucial to the writing process. As to the argument that technology is taking over the need for handwriting, Steve Graham said, "We don't live in a handwriting world and we don't live in a digital world. We live in a hybrid world." The big thing that I have gathered from this topic that I will incorporate into my own teaching practice is that handwriting needs specific instruction, but the teaching must be purposeful so students recognise its importance in their writing. When teaching younger years, collaborating phonic instruction with handwriting is a great way to develop meaning for handwriting, while also teaching the students letter formation. Interactive whiteboard games like pen pals. It provides an exciting and stimulating way to teach handwriting to the whole class. Visual aids provide helpful reminders on how to hold a pencil, sit and place the paper correctly. Activities like journal writing allow the students to practice handwriting in a relaxing and purposeful manner. All these activities and resources help to guide teachers and students to achieve curriculum benchmarks. Much of the curriculum's focus on handwriting is within the first 3 years of schooling. After that, most of the content centres around practicing joining letters and building up fluency and speed.
From this table adapted from the Australian curriculum, it shows what should be taught at each year level.